watching the Wednesday edition of This is Exclusive with me, Tanisha Awasthi. On this edition of 7 p.m, we get you two exclusive news breaks, exclusive stories that are only with Republic. First one, of course, being the Disha Salian death mystery. We'll get you revelations on the death case, which Republic has always been following about. How her phone was in use for 9 days even after her death. Who was using that phone? Who were the phone calls made to? We'll get you all the exclusive details. That's the first story tonight. And on the second story that we have for you, Mohammed Yunus, the Bangladesh is burning. The country is burning, and this is all under Mohammed Yunus regime. However, he claims to a foreign media that nothing has happened so far in Bangladesh and ties with India remain intact. However, it is the Human Rights Commission which has fact-checked Mohammed Yunus. We'll get you the two stories, but before that, let's have a quick check of the headlines. Disha Salian death mystery unravels yet again. Sources say that her phone was in use 9 days after her death. Big revelations coming up next. Mohammed Yunus has been fact-checked by the Human Rights Commission. He claims that there's nothing happening in Bangladesh, that Bangladesh is not burning, but a fact-check to Mohammed Yunus is what is next on the show today.
संभाजी महाराज हो, छत्रपति शिवाजी महाराज हो, उनके बारे में कोई एक लफ्ज़ गलत नहीं बोला है। लेकिन अगर इन चीज़ों से किसी को वो लगता है कि इसको तोड़ मरोड़ के पेश करके किसी को लगता है कि मैंने गलत बोला है, तो भाई मैं अपने पूरे स्टेटमेंट को वापस लेता हूँ।
He is the Samajwadi Party MLA from Maharashtra. He praises Aurangzeb. Later, after the backlash, he was forced to apologize. However, Eknath Shinde is demanding a sedition case against him. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is on a Gujarat tour. He visited the Vantara Animal Rescue Center in Jamnagar, striking moments visible on your screens. Ladies and gentlemen, almost 5 years, the highly controversial and widely debated case of Disha Salian's tragic death continues to stir public outrage and speculation. Now, Republic TV has been at the forefront of covering this case, and tonight, more details emerge on what really happened in the aftermath of the Disha Salian's alleged suicide. Breaking news now coming in. Almost 5 years after her demise, top sources have indicated that Disha's mobile phone was used for up to 9 days after her death. 9 days, that's right. She died on June 8, 2020, and between 9th and 17th of the same month, multiple calls were made using Disha Salian's phone. Sources have also said that when her body was initially discovered, the Mumbai Police officials who were at the spot missed, or rather did not confiscate her phone as a part of the circumstantial evidence. Now, that's a huge lapse that comes on the part of the Mumbai Police, because remember, 9 days after Disha Salian died, her phone was still in usage. Disha Salian's phone was used for 9 days after her death. Several calls were made between June 9 and June 17. That is just 9 days after her death. Now, Mumbai Police did not even initially seize Disha Salian's phone as a circumstantial evidence. That is a huge loss that comes on the part of the Mumbai Police. Joining me on the broadcast is Advocate Nilesh Ojha. He's a petitioner in Disha Salian death case. I'm also being joined by Advocate Subhash Shah. He's a senior advocate. First, Nilesh Ojha, to you. A huge lapse that is coming to fore in the Disha Salian death mystery, where 9 days after she died, her phone was in use. The bigger lapse that's coming to fore is that the police did not even seize her phone as a part of the circumstantial evidence that could have been used in the probe.
I think this issue was earlier raised by Republican Bharat itself. There are more strong evidences which we are going to produce before Honorable Chief Justice on next date.
Right.
Not only this, but there are direct evidences, direct eyewitnesses, and circumstantial evidences, digital footprints, which exclusively proves that on that day, Mr. Aditya Thackeray was there. There was murder, there was rape, and there were so many other things, including cover up by the police. And based on this, we have requested the Honorable Court that there should be first an FIR, and thereafter there should be an arrest of Aditya Thackeray and others, and their further investigation should be conducted.
Right.
And in this regard, Honorable Court had directed us to submit a short synopsis along with all these things. So
Right.
this is one of the crucial evidence. There is one more crucial evidence that recently one of the close former spokesperson of Uddhav Thackeray, UBT group, had openly accepted that yes, Aditya Thackeray in the capacity of cabinet minister was present there
Right.
in the party at Disha Salian's flat, and I have used my sources to save him, otherwise he was being arrested.
Right.
So these are the factors which without any doubt points finger towards Aditya Thackeray. In addition to that, the explanation given by Mr. Aditya Thackeray that on 8th June I was not there, but I was at my at the hospital. My grandfather, Sri Madhav Patankar, died. All these found to be false because his grandfather was alive on 8th June. He actually expired on 14th June. So all things are there. Sri Nitesh Rane also told that he will give pen drive, and we are
Right.
also giving, going to submit in the court much more than what is discussed in the public and which is less known to many of the people.
Right. Nilesh Oja and Advocate Subhash, I request you to kindly stay with us because we're getting in more breaking news in regard with the same case. Now, we learned that a second exclusive information that we bring to you in the case suggests that when Mumbai Police had later reviewed Disha Salian's call records, data revealed that internet services remained active. I repeat, the internet services remained active on the phone for a period of 9 days between June 9 and June 17. That is, remember, 9 days after her death. So that's a huge revelation that is coming in. A big lead that we're getting in the Disha Salian death mystery, where Disha Salian was found dead, but her phone was not seized. And we learned that it was not just call records that were gathered. There were also several calls that were made. Not just that, internet services were also active on Disha Salian's phone. Nilesh Oja is the petitioner in the Disha Salian case. He is continuing with us along with Advocate Subhash Jha, who is there with us on the broadcast. Nilesh Oja, quickly, before I go on to Subhash or Advocate Subhash, what, if you can give hint to our viewers, a small hint on what is the crucial evidence that you're talking about that you will be presenting in the court in the next hearing?
There is testimony of one star witness. I am not taking name of that eyewitness. She was friend of Aditya Thackeray. He is eyewitness of many gruesome, not only murders, but also that gang rapes, child abuses, and even cannibalism and others. All his statement in sealed cover will be provided to the court. One thing. Second thing, there is one more eyewitness who was present in the party. he had also stated how this thing happened, and his testimony is corroborated by Mr. Kishore Tiwari.
Right.
He said that there was minister, his bodyguard was there, and they first gag raped her, then thrown out of that window. And this thing was partly admitted by Mr. Kishore Tiwari that he was there, and as being cabinet minister,
right.
his all records.
Absolutely. Nilesh Ojha, thank you very much for speaking to Republic. I quickly have to move across to other breaking news coming in, and this is in regard with the Augusta Westland case, where the Delhi High Court has granted bail to Christian Michelle James in the money laundering case related to Augusta Westland helicopter scam. Earlier, he was granted bail by the Supreme Court in the CBI case. That's a huge update that's coming in, and this is in regard with the Augusta Westland scam. Delhi High Court has now granted bail to Christian Michelle. He wasn't accused in the Augusta Westland scam. We learned that the Delhi High Court has now granted bail to Christian Michelle in the matter. This is in regard with the Enforcement Directorate case. Rhythm, my colleague, is joining me live from the newsroom on that. Yes, Rhythm, please take us through the crucial points that we need to know about the case.
All right. British arms consultant Christian James Michelle, in the FIR registered by the ED, has now been granted bail by the Delhi High Court. 6 years he has spent in prison. The Augusta Westland scam, one of the biggest scams the country has seen, and I still remember that visual, a very famous visual, if our directors can pull it out, which our political editor Aishwarya Kapoor was seen following Christian Michelle, asking him the question. Also one of the only people who followed Augusta Westland, even in Italy, where I remember that's the visual where Aishwarya followed him, tried to ask him a question about whether in fact he'd been a part of the scam. He also was, if I believe correctly, in Lugano, where he tried to question him and exactly understand what the scam was, a scam that rocked the UPA government. 6 years later, in that case, Christian Michelle has been granted bail. We remember earlier in February, the Supreme Court also granted him bail in the CBI-related case. He's now getting bail in the ED case in the Delhi High Court. While bail was granted in the money laundering case, I'm going to give you details, viewers. Considering the period of incarceration of 6 years and 2 months undergone, the Supreme Court had granted him bail, and in the CBI case, the court's opinion had been prolonged incarceration of the accused of 6 years and 2 months had been there, and therefore more than 100 witnesses having been examined under PMLA, and therefore various judgments of PMLA also having been taken into ground. The court had said after being in custody for over 6 years and 2 months, the trial had not even commenced due to incomplete investigation. Article 21, the fundamental rights of speedy trial having not been followed. Passport had also expired, and more than 6 years having spent in prison, Christian Michelle had been granted bail.
Right.
ED's counsel, even then, I think it is Zoeb, someone whom we'd spoken to, Zoeb Hussain, who had been representing the ED, they had submitted on twin conditions for bail had not been met in the case. However, Michelle was earlier denied bail in both the cases in 2022, but now he has been granted bail. I beg your pardon, I think for Michelle, advocates had appeared, Tanisha, but now bail has been granted. He's possibly going to be walking free after 6 years.
Right, Rhythm, if you can also take us through the charges that were pressed against him by the Enforcement Directorate in the Augusta Westland case.
Yes, money laundering charges under Section 45 and under the PMLA Act, a very serious act, had been presented against him. In fact, what I'd also like to do for our viewers is to actually take us back to the Augusta Westland case. This was a case that we had covered very strongly. In fact, we had been at the very forefront of the Augusta Westland case and tried to expose the entire case, the entire 2013 helicopter bribery case, and that had shaken the entire country. We refer to this as the Augusta Westland case. It was the Indian helicopter bribery scandal by the Congress and the UPA government. It referred to the multi-million-dollar bribery corruption case in India, where money had been paid to middlemen like Christian Michelle and others. It had been paid to Indian officials in 2006 and 2007 that had been paid to purchase helicopters for high-level politicians. As per the CBI, the amount was over 2.5 billion rupees. transferred through bank accounts, and I remember this in UK and UAE. Our colleagues had gone to UAE to pursue the matter. They'd also gone to Italy. Like I said, our political editor Aishwarya had spent months in Italy at that time, and of course in Dubai as well. Other colleagues had gone. It came to light in 2013. We had pursued it when an Indian national parliamentary investigation began into these allegations. It was called the Chopper Gate or the Chopper Scam. Now Christian Michel walking free after 6 years.
Absolutely, Rudhan. Thank you very much for sharing those details. Christian Michel now granted bail. This is in regard with the Enforcement Directorate charges that the ED had pressed against him in the Augusta Westland Chopper case. Thank you very much, Rudhan, for joining us on the broadcast. Meanwhile, it's time for us to slip into a short break. That's all that we could pack in this edition of This is Exclusive for You. Don't go anywhere. Coming up next is Trending with my colleague, Gesu Bhardwaj.